It's just another Sharkman podcast. Hello and welcome to Just Another Sharkman podcast, your chance to plug into all the latest news, movies and events in the Sharkman film franchise. I'm Jack, I'm here with my best bud. His name is Fergus.
Hey guys, it's great to be back in the studio.
Yeah guys, it's our first episode back in the studio because obviously 2 weeks ago I got stabbed a couple times in the tum by Chris and Chris.
Yeah.
And I'm back now, but Ferg had been taking the microphone into the hospital. I'd be unconscious and he'd be slapping me awake saying it's time for the podcast every day. Really unhealthy. Doctors tried to get him out, but he persisted because he's a great mate.
And I hope you enjoyed those episodes, listeners. But now we're back in the studio. We're back where we belong.
Oh, yeah.
Jack is now most of the time conscious, so I don't just have to slap him awake to get his hot takes on the latest news, on the latest gossip, on the latest developments.
And what the best thing, guys, is that now I'm back, I'm awake because I've got a metal tum.
Yeah.
Just give it a little knock, Ferg.
There it is, little cyborg Jack now. You're
Really?
a little cyborg now.
Really,
just
I know,
like
I'm a
Chris.
cyborg, just like Chris.
He's got his metal arm, you've
yeah.
got your metal tum.
It's amazing how our lives are starting to mirror each other's.
So, Jack,
Yes, Ferg.
how does it feel now that you've got this metal tum?
Oh, well, Ferg, it feels pretty much the same, except metal. I'm still eating stuff.
Yep.
I don't think I need to eat things, but I am.
I assume they just sort of clank around more.
They clank around a bit. It means I can eat things like coins, keys, and cans. You know, all the C's.
And how do they taste?
Oh, Ferg, I don't know if it's because of the programming in the stomach or if I just have discovered a treat that I didn't know I loved, but they're delish, Ferg.
Do you have a coin on you?
Yeah, I do actually.
Can I have a
mate.
try?
Yeah, you
See
have
if I-
a
see if
you
I
have a
like them.
taste.
Should have got you to give me a smaller one than a £2 coin, shouldn't I?
Yeah, massive. That's my favourite when they're big. You're right, Ferg.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Did you enjoy it?
To level with you, Jack, I mean this in a general sense.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know whether things are good and I like them a lot of the time. I just I make a call on what makes most sense to say in the situation as to whether I like a thing and I say that.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know whether I like or dislike things a lot of the time.
Cheeky little confession, Ferg. I think that's going to go down really well with the listeners, and I hope you guys like it at home.
So, talking of the listeners at home, of course, big developments in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, huge.
Of course, since my big birthday surprise and all the hoo-ha around that, Chris and Chris, formerly a Sharkman fan podcast, obviously Chris, who is your stepdad and used to be your landlord and so on, and you cut off his hand, and Chris, who it turns out was your secret twin sister.
Yeah, evil.
They have both very much sworn revenge on us.
Oh, they have. Oh,
so
boy.
they've changed
Oh,
their
boy.
podcast. Instead of it just being Chris and Chris, the Sharkman fan podcast, it's now actually dedicated to our podcast and about how they're going to get revenge on us and how much they hate us and how obsessed they are with us. So it's very much just now a fan podcast for Just Another Sharkman podcast, the fan podcast, our podcast. And since then, we've had a few more podcasts start springing up because, of course, we are the most successful Sharkman fan podcast in the world at the moment. So now it's really great, really fostering that community where our fan podcast has fan podcasts dedicated to it.
Oh, sorry, what were you saying, Ferg?
So I was just talking about the changing. Sorry, Jack, what are you doing? Are you okay?
Sorry, I'm on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
I need to really limit my time I spend on it. I know.
That's okay. What are you up to?
I'm just messaging Chris, my sister Chris, my Krista.
Your evil twin.
Yeah, we're DMing all the time.
But she wants to steal your life.
Yeah, no, I know, and she has,
kill you.
and she has.
Oh, she has stolen your life.
She hasn't killed me, but she has stolen my life.
She lives with your mum now.
Yeah, she lives with mum. She's just been sending me pics of like what's for dinner,
Right.
what she's how she's redecorated my room a bit.
Why are you messaging her?
I just want to be friends. We share all the same interests. We're practically the same person.
She's your evil twin.
Yeah, no, exactly, Ferg. She is my twin. So we're trying to hang out, and we want to hang out at the milkshake shop soon. And anyway, I'm just messaging her.
I think she's going to try and kill you if you hang out, Jack.
I don't. Just call whatever it is in me, wherever I've got this gut feeling, Ferg. I think it's going to be perfectly safe and lovely, and we're going to hang out and have a good time. Chat about Sharkman, chat about milkshakes, chat about the kids' films, and then just check in on Mum and, find out how she is and stuff.
You're not loved enough.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Ferg, whatever you said,
Yep.
it didn't go in my brain.
Fair
I
enough.
just saw your mouth move, made like a kind of ooh sound, and no, it didn't go in.
I could sympathise with that.
Friends forever. But Ferg, no one cares about our lives. No one wants to hear about us and our lives and our stories and our characters.
Okay.
They just care about learning more about the world, about the facts and the little things in the world that you can remember and learn about and write down on a wiki.
You're absolutely right, Jack.
And we've got a very exciting interview coming up in a little bit. But just before then, I've got this big press release, Ferg. I've got it up on my iPad. Let's have a look.
So, here it is. The big thing that's happening in the news lately is, of course, the big protests that have been happening up in town.
They're in the streets, they're stopping transport,
Yeah.
and they're really making themselves heard, Ferg. They're really causing a nuisance, some might say, Ferg.
And so, what's happened? Just to give you the lowdown, because obviously, I'm sure you've seen about the protest in the news, but you may not be sure exactly what the situation is, why it's all happening, the reason for these protests. So, what happened was, Sharkman Studios put out an announcement saying, as I'm sure you know, we make so many films every month.
Yeah.
We put out films.
Yeah.
We initially, obviously, we used to put out like a film a year, and now it accelerated, and now we put out hundreds of films, hundreds of movies up on the big screen every year.
Yeah. Sharkman Studio CEO, he comes out, he says this speech.
And he says, however, it has gotten to the point
Yeah.
where if we were to accelerate our output just by one more film a year,
Yeah.
the entire world would end. Such is our impact on the environment.
What I understood, Ferg, what I got was that the Sharkman Studio CEO was basically saying, and I'm simplifying here, I'm probably simplifying some of the theory, and
Yeah.
you probably understand it better than I do.
Absolutely.
But as Jack the layman, as Jack the everyman character
That's what I call
that
you.
people, person that people kind of get on board with,
Mm-hmm.
what I understand is that the Sharkman Studio CEO, he's saying that the world is on this tipping point. And if they make one more film, the whole world the next day will likely disintegrate into ash.
Because Sharma Studios, in their consumption and in their pollution of the world,
All for noble causes.
all for noble causes, all this, people, environment and gas and something,
blah, blah,
the sea,
blah.
DVD
But
island,
films.
trash, whatever.
Trash
in order to
nightmare.
make these great films, they've affected the world so much, and our hearts, Jack, but also the environment.
Oh, Ferg, can I just say, can you not confuse the plastics issue with the environment issue?
Jack, I don't care.
So DVD Island is transforming wildlife. It's really messing up our oceans.
Yep.
But it's also not causing the planet to get hotter. DVD Island, pretty okay, really.
But Sharma Studios are also responsible for the planet getting hotter.
Yeah.
primarily responsible.
No, they're responsible for both.
So, of course, they've been doing all this. And because of that,
Yeah.
the world as we know it is going to end within 15 to 35 years.
Yeah, and the Sharkman Studio CEO, he's coming out, he's saying...
We're okay
"Guys,
with that."
We're okay with that because I'll be dead then.
Yes.
But before I die, I want to have as much fun as possible and make as much dollar as possible.
And obviously we're all okay with that. The
Yeah.
world's going to end because of Sharkman, a bit down the line, yada, yada, yada. It's
Yeah.
not happening right now, so I don't care. But they said the whole world and all human life would just expire tomorrow if we were to make one more film a year. And so Sharkman Studios have made an announcement saying we're not going to accelerate our output anymore because we don't want the entire world to end tomorrow. We don't care about it ending in 10 years, 15 years, but we don't want it to end right now.
And, they're not saying, oh, when we're going to stop doing time travel stuff. They're not saying we're going to stop building massive labyrinths.
No.
All of that stuff's still going.
Of course.
But really, it is just making that extra film is really going to put us over the edge.
Yeah. And so, people, upon hearing about this massive impact Sharkman Studios are having on the environment, and the fact that if they made one more film, the whole world would end.
Yeah.
And they have come out in their droves.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring.
massive.
People in the streets, mass civil disobedience.
Over 1 million people.
They've come out with their signs and their banners, and they've got one thing on their minds, Jack.
Yeah.
They're saying, one more film. They're saying,
right, Ferg.
do it anyway.
Yeah.
Accelerate your output. 20 more films. Why would you not? We really like these films. We love Sharkman. Sharkman is the best. Yeah. We'll see it. I want to see more.
No, absolutely.
And it's fantastic to see young people engaged and enthused in this way to really try to enact real change.
Yeah.
I.e., just more shit, just more stuff. Just want to see more. Just more things happening.
Ferg, now this has obviously been big news. Obviously, protests started today, but over the last couple of weeks, when I've been in hospital, I've also been forming a little committee with some of my mates.
Yeah.
I noticed you didn't accept my request for it. Do you want to check it now? Maybe could.
Yeah. Well,
hit
could you
accept.
explain what it was?
So basically, I formed a committee, Facebook group, and what it's saying is 10 years till the end of the world. Brilliant. That's fine. I might be dead by then. Or at least I will have watched 10 more years worth of Sharkman films.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But tomorrow...
They're good films.
The Earth ending tomorrow, little bit, just for another film. Controversial opinion, Ferg, but I think it's a big no-no. Don't think we should do it. I wanna hang out with my friends for another 10 years. Want to hang out with my mum. Want to make friends with Krista again. Want to do all that.
Right, so my take on it, Jack,
Yeah, Ferg.
is that I want them to make more films so that I can see more films.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's the majority opinion, I suppose. Yeah.
And that's what the protest is all about. And I've been at the protest.
Oh, Ferg, really? So you're part of the protest? Were you there
I've
this
been
morning?
up there. Yeah.
Have you got the badge? The one more film badge?
I don't have a one more film badge.
Right, okay,
I've just got this tattoo under my lip.
Oh my god.
On the inside of my lower lip.
Was that painful?
What?
Was that painful to get?
What do you mean pain?
I mean, did it hurt?
Oh God,
We've got to start getting you up. We're
pain.
going to start getting you up to like what are these human emotions? Just because of the listeners, Ferg.
Yeah.
Just because of the listeners, you've got to actually behave like a human sometimes.
Yeah. So pain. I'm gonna go with yes. It was painful. Because that sounds like the right answer.
That feels like the right answer.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think they're not putting out enough films every year for me personally.
Yeah.
I want them to make more films.
I hear you.
So that they should do that, and then I can see them.
Yeah, Ferg, I hear you. I hear you, and I understand it. And actually, I don't think this is a podcast about division.
No.
I think this is a podcast about having a healthy debate.
It's about unity.
With friends.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to put it out there. Interesting for the listeners to see how you react.
Yeah.
If they make that extra film, if he signs off on it and they literally start production, the world will end tomorrow. So you won't see that film. So, listeners, Ferg, he's grabbed the jumper in the back of the laundrette and he's just hitting it. He's just hitting it hard. I didn't realise you could bleed from hitting a jumper, but you can.
See, okay. Sorry, let's just carry on this healthy debate.
Yeah.
I want to see more films.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yes.
I'm on that. I'm with you.
So they should make them more.
But you won't see it, Ferg.
But the...
Ferg, I'm just going to wrap up your hand because it is bleeding.
Okay, yeah.
And I've got my metal belly is like a bit of a utility belt, so I've got some bandages
nice.
coming out here. Let's just move on.
I'm glad we had the debate, though.
Me too, Ferg. Me too. Now, listeners, as you guys know, I've become more and more of a bit of a PI.
This is this thing you've been trying to push, isn't it?
I'm an investigator. I'm really trying to push it on the podcast. And what I've done, Ferg, inspired by Sharkman Solves the Crimes, I've actually got my own little team of street urchins. And they're just going to go around the town and they're going to report back to me, make some little reports, and we're going to find out more about the town in which we live.
That's really exciting, Jack.
So what I did was I asked my number one street urchin.
And what's their name?
He didn't give me his name. This is an anonymous process, Ferg, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't ask questions like that.
That's fair.
And I sent him to the One More Film protest movement. I thought it'd be good, Ferg, to get someone on the ground and really researching the movement, researching what's happening in the streets right now.
Really unpack what's happening.
So we're going to go over now to our correspondent. He's 49.
Oh, not a street urchin.
He is a street urchin.
But he's just 49.
He's just 49, yeah. And I haven't listened to the clip yet, Ferg.
Yep.
But I think he's going to crack it right open.
Let's cue it up.
Let's go.
Hello, this is Street Urchin reporting for business. I am here at the One More Film protest. It is pretty busy here, and I'm at this food stand which is selling shark burgers. I'm going to order one for you. I've been informed by a lot of the protesters that this is a really good food stand, so I'm going to do a little mini review of it, and I think that'll tell you all you need to know about proceedings here today. All right, mate. How much is a shark burger? Oh yeah, I'll have a shark burger, please. Oh, thank you very much. Here's my money. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna eat this burger now. And then I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna take my first bite now. Okay, I'm gonna take my second bite now. That was pretty good. I'm gonna take my third bite now.
Well, Ferg, I think that's just totally amazing, don't you?
I think he's cracked it wide open.
Exactly. I think just listening to that, and it does go on and on and on. It
Yeah.
does go on for another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We'll make that available to you guys, the listeners, on the premium pass on the website.
Let's do that.
But I just think, for me, it's totally changed my mind about the whole One More Film movement.
Me too.
And Ferg, I think it just shows that if we get a couple different voices on the podcast, if we get a couple different perspectives and opinions, we can really change not only listeners' minds, but our own minds.
It's all about bipartisanship.
Unity, big hugs.
There's good people on both sides.
Yeah, and let's just be friends.
So, listeners, coming up now is our interview that we recorded. So, obviously, the protest is happening, but this is another big thing that's happening today in the world of Sharkman.
I'm so excited for it.
And we got this really exclusive interview. Jack's the one who knows more about this than me. So, Jack, if you just want to explain the interview before you play it.
I do. I've just been so excited about this. Basically, guys, as most of you know, tonight is the Shark Flip Championships.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really exciting, really good. And again, it's funny, just like the protest, it's like two sides just against each other. Thematic. Because we're so exclusive now, because we've got so many listeners, we were invited to interview the top 2 Shark Flip players that will be facing off in the final tonight. And I'm a big fan, Ferg, so I was just really excited for this interview.
And I think it's a really good interview, really interesting.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Hey guys, it's Jack and Ferg here.
Hello.
We're backstage at the Shark Flip Championships.
So excited.
And we are so excited to talk to...
So, if you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lightning.
Yeah, hi, I'm Noel.
It's a big exclusive. It's been really difficult to get them in the same room until now.
Big exclusive, big double interview before the match tomorrow, exclusive on the podcast.
Yeah, no, I wasn't actually expecting to see Noel here.
Yes, well, of course, I told you, we told Lightning that it was just going to be him, and we told Noel it was just going to be him.
Yeah.
And we've locked the doors so they can't leave.
Yeah, that's not great, guys.
Yeah. Could you just open the doors? Can you unlock them?
Yeah, could we leave?
Ferg swallowed the keys, so I watched him do it. It was very painful. He's going to poop it out later.
So you can, in terms of my digestive system, you'll be able to leave in about, well, I ate it about 5 minutes ago, so yeah, you'll be able to leave in about 5 minutes.
So guys, you two are obviously mega famous. You're Shark Flip champions, number 1 and number 2, and you're always jostling for that spot.
Thank
now,
you.
I think Lightning, you're number 1 at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, I am, yes.
And now, Ferg, what's interesting about these two is,
Yeah.
can you tell by looking at them, they're twins.
Oh, now that you mention it, they're identical.
Yeah, obviously I got the better genes, but
We've got the same genes.
wow.
So you've been playing this sport, shark flip,
Yeah.
from a very early age then?
Well, I remember when the game was still amateur. It's not always...
Still is for some.
and it's not always been this sort of some say money-driven extravaganza. There was a time when the game was still pure.
What was it like growing up in a household where you two were just doing shark flip all the time, just against each other? I bet it was a real laugh.
It was unbearable.
It was great, you know. I mean, there were some times where we had our, we'd have fights. We'd play, and he'd make a wrong move, and I'd say, well, technically that's a breach of that particular bylaw, but it was always in good spirit, wasn't it?
No.
Right. Well, it was for me at least.
That's good. I'm glad you've had a really good time with it.
Growing up,
Deprived of love and affection.
I wouldn't say so, but we definitely had parents who took one of us each. And they were shark flip players, the precursor to shark flip as it was then.
They trained us to hate each other and what each other represent. We had each a separate ideology built around vilifying the other brother.
So I suppose that really makes you just better players.
It does, yeah, and it's made me, the best I can be.
I'm a shell of a man.
And I think that we only ever met on Sundays.
Yeah.
And we only ever
The Lord's Day.
played shark flip for hours.
So you only ever really socialised when you were being literally pitted against each other?
Yeah,
I wouldn't call it
sport.
socialising. Are cocks socialising when they fight, when they're pitted in a fight to the death?
Well, they're having a good time,
Ferg loves cockfighting.
I'm always down at the
He's
cockfights.
always at the cockfights.
And I'm really starting to get into this game now that obviously before it was some sort of boring whatever. But now that you're telling me that, children are being pitted against each other, it's got a lot more drama to it, and I'm really engaging with that side of it. So guys, to a novice like me, or like many of our listeners maybe, who don't know much about this game, Shark Flip, could you just explain to us, how the game works, what the gameplay is, what is Shark Flip?
Well, I'd love to.
But I'll do it instead. You each have a character, and your opponent has to guess which of the Sharkman characters you have.
So guys, you got this board.
So you got this board, and so on the board are all the characters from the Sharkman franchise, and then you have each one of the characters from the board, and you each have got to guess what the other person has got as their character.
Yeah, so on the board, you have these characters, and they sort of stand up mechanically, and then when you make a choice, and if you can rule out any specific character, what you do is
You flip them down. That's what you do. You flip them down.
Yeah, so you're just like guessing who it is, which is what's so good about the game.
Yeah,
So you have to guess who it is.
So the game sort of utilises the whole Sharkman extended universe, and obviously that's a number of characters. And interestingly, the game used to be just when it was first coined Shark Flip, it was just Sharkman 1 and Sharkman 2. And then, of course, expansion packs, more and more characters being added to the roster. And that was what really prompted this move into digitisation, which we've got at the moment.
The analog board, it was a mile long.
Yeah.
So the board got wider and wider as they released more films.
It did, yeah. So obviously the game is based around, knowing your way around the Sharkman extended universe and all those characters. So of course, once you factor in, the novelizations,
Trading cards,
the concept albums,
Renaissance artworks,
all your Sharkman content, the board just became massive, and so we've really moved, as a game into VR, which is a really exciting time.
We've entered the digital age.
We really have.
For better or worse.
So the whole game now is played via VR.
It is, yeah, and we're talking haptic feedback. We're talking omnidirectional treadmills. There is no board. It exists only in virtual reality.
It's not what it was.
So you're saying that's changed the gameplay for worse for you?
Well, there used to be an element of stamina, of aerobic fitness.
Yeah.
There was a real challenge to it.
'Cause of course-
Players starting today, they don't know how easy they've got.
Well, because of course the board, when it was a mile long, that really demanded some good cross-country fitness.
Yeah.
And there was, sadly, a famous incident.
So Ferg, you would have loved it. It was real drama.
Oh yeah, what happened?
So in 2017,
Yeah.
it was the quarterfinals.
It was.
October.
Yeah, October. And very sad. There was someone, unfortunately, we don't allow food and drink on the stage, but someone, unfortunately, had been eating what looked like a banana, and they'd left it by the side of the board, and there really was an incident where unfortunately, when you're moving at such speed,
Running up and down.
yeah, you just don't have time to pay attention to the floor.
Yeah.
You just don't have time. As a professional player, I can say it's very hard to be aware of it. You know that route front to back, and so anything that gets
Back
in
to
your
front.
way, that banana really was a death sentence.
So somebody slipped on the banana peel.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant sight.
Now, Ferg, you might think that was a funny occurrence.
Yeah.
Like in Sharkman has to clean up
Where he slips on a banana
and
peel.
he falls on his bum and it's funny.
Yeah.
But no, someone died. Here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so just a bit of reverence.
Catastrophic for the sport.
And worse, that was at a time when obviously not everyone could play with these mile-long boards, so it did cause some damage to that board, and that board didn't see play again. And that was really more what prompted the move into digitisation. It was actually the financial aspect of it, really.
Always the money.
So you put on the VR headset, guys. You're in the game. You're looking at a table. You're looking at a board, and this is just they're pushing this as far as they can. This is the pinnacle of new technology.
Yeah.
And obviously we're some of a very select few people really who get to use VR. I mean, it's not a particularly public technology.
It's a privilege.
It is a privilege, and we like to think that we're really at the cutting edge of what this can achieve.
Guys, I've always wanted to ask you this, but what could you do in VR if you're really creative? Like, could you be like standing on top of a building or flying or like being Sharkman or something like that? Is that possible?
Oh well,
No,
I mean,
no, it's not possible at this stage.
the thing to remember really with VR
Just
is
shark flip.
that it's really called virtual reality for a reason.
Yeah,
the
they're right.
aim of the game really is representing that real physical experience. And so
It's not virtual fantasy.
no, it's virtual reality, not virtual fantasy. And
Yeah.
and if you wanted that experience of being on a building or flying or whatever, that's why you've got the Sharkman films.
You're right there.
Really?
You're right there. Sorry, it's stupid.
You are stupid,
I'm
Jack.
a stupid idiot.
I think
No,
you're a
you are
stupid
quite
idiot.
stupid,
And I
yeah.
think the point you're missing,
I hate
Jack,
you.
is that the only places where you want to be having these imaginative things happening is in the Sharkman films.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that Sharkman Studios have lobbied for these various laws where you're not allowed to do fun things in VR. Because otherwise it means people are sort of doing things that aren't in the Sharkman films and doing things that aren't just imagining. It's just weird.
I agree.
And I
It's
think it's
reckless.
important
It's
to just limit it. Yeah, exactly. It's reckless.
true.
And who knows what it could lead to in society if, I could sit at home thinking about doing things.
Yeah.
Thank God we've got the proper legislation.
Exactly.
That's
And,
what I've always said.
we're using VR in a very controlled environment every time. And
You shouldn't try it at home. You shouldn't try it. We're
It's
trained professionals.
you will get arrested.
It's safe, it's stressful, and it's not fun or creative.
It's sport.
Guys, I'm sure that's really interesting, but what I've always been excited by, what I've always read in the Shark Flip mags, is about the history and about you guys being raised together, obviously being pitted against each other.
Yeah.
And can we just push into that more? Because I think that's what the listeners are really into.
It's
Ferg.
what I'm interested
And it's
in.
definitely what you're interested in.
Noel has struggled with some of the harsher realities of being a professional shark flip player, and I've tried to help him through those.
Like what?
Well, I mean, it's up to him whether he
Let's-
wants to talk about them. But
I'd really rather not talk about it.
Because of course you split up with your wife, didn't you, Noel?
If you read the tabloid newspapers, you probably know a fair bit about my relationship with my now ex-wife.
And that was, of course, it was particularly fraught during from what I've heard from Jack, during the 2016 championship.
Yes, that is when we decided to get a divorce. My wife and I've not seen my kids since. Essentially, my life has been consumed by shark flip.
but they're doing well, the kids.
Ferg, can we talk about lightning?
Yeah.
I just want to talk about lightning, and we're not really into this.
You know, really, yeah, he's a bit.
No,
a bit
lightning,
sad.
Lightning, you're a bit of a bad boy.
Yeah.
Well,
Lightning, you've been caught in some precarious situations. let me
Yeah, what
tell
I'm
you.
getting from this is that Lightning is the cool one.
Yeah.
Noel is the sad
boy
one.
Yeah.
I
So
wonder how
lightning,
that happened.
get this, lightning. I don't know if you can elaborate on this story, but lightning was caught sliding down the side of a glass building, naked, doing coke all the way down it. And it was one of those glass buildings with an angle. You know, they're like very trendy and for the architect's life. So it wasn't too steep, so he died.
Wow,
But
yeah.
it also wasn't too flat that he didn't slide at all.
What a cool bad boy.
well, obviously, I couldn't possibly comment. I wouldn't want to risk my professional shark flip player career.
But you are a legend.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. But I mean, I will say that I was escaping a particularly hairy situation that day. And the less probably said about that, the better. Let the fans keep speculating.
No, I think maybe we could hear a little bit more about that hairy situation.
Well,
So guys, what I'm hearing about the sport and all the sort of pain and suffering and rivalry that's involved, it sounded great to me, and obviously also Sharkman characters. But for the listeners at home and for me, I think what would be useful if you guys do a little role play of a game of Shark Flip. Just take us through the moves, how it works, what the back and forth is. If you'd like to start, like the cool, fun one.
And seriously, no touching.
Yeah, and stop. Yeah,
Can you please stop touching
please
each
don't touch
other?
well, obviously, I haven't got all my my kit here, but we can definitely do a hypothetical.
Yeah.
We can do a sort of, a test run, if you like. So, just to walk your listeners through it, I would start, by picking a character from the extended Sharkman universe.
Great.
And I hold that character in my head.
So it's got to be an unguessable character first.
It's got to be...
that you want to. That's what you want to try and do. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
So, I think of a character, and if I'm going first... now, I like to open with a particular kind of question, and of course, to Noel, this will be no surprise, because we practice together so many Sundays, that I usually like to start with something like, and, he's sort of a character as well, does your character have legs?
Inspired question there. Lightning.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and that's worked for me throughout most of my career.
And so say you've thought of a character, Noel, what do you say in response to lightning?
No.
Interesting.
So what does that do?
So for me, that changes the game, or at least it sets the way the game is going. So he said no, and I then can rule out any character that does have legs from my extensive collection of characters.
Oh, that's how... It's so interesting hearing out of the mouth of the professionals, because
yeah.
I just
It's a real
didn't know-
insight into...
So with that question, lightning can now knock out all the people. I didn't understand that was happening.
Yeah.
Aren't you a big fan of this game?
I am. I love it, but I didn't know the rules.
No, it can be quite impenetrable, it's very fair. And so now it would be Noel's turn to ask a question.
My question would be...
Hypothetical, of course.
Is your character a mollusk?
Okay. A lot of mollusk characters in the Sharkman universe.
No, of course.
And a lot of non-mollusk characters.
Yeah, so I mean
It's about 50-50.
that's an interesting one, because that cuts down a lot of my characters. But
That's why I asked.
But we're still talking somewhere in the region of 526,734.
So what would you say, yes or no?
So I would say yes. And then
At
I
which
would
point,
say...
I would, of course, rule out all of the non-mollusk characters.
Yeah, I'm starting to get it.
Me too.
Yeah. So now this is a special treat for your listeners. There's one question I know that really gets under Noel's skin, and I feel like this is purely hypothetical, but it gives a good insight into our sort of dynamic. So I would say, and this is what I like to call a lightning special.
Go on.
I would say, did your character survive the shark apocalypse?
Oh.
Yes.
And that's flawed here, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's amazing. So lightning is actually miming flipping down some of the panels there, Ferg. It's like he's seeing it in his mind.
Yes.
And Noel just looks quite sad.
So then, Noel, what would you come back with?
Is your character married to Squid Boy?
Oh, Squid Boy had 400 wives.
No. And I'd say, does your character have gills?
Yes. And then I might follow up with something like, did this character make garden sheds before they got their superpowers?
No. And hypothetically, I might respond, is your character blue?
No. Could you store your character in a filing cabinet?
No. Can your character only speak backwards?
Yes. If your character were in the room right now, would they be tall?
No. Does your character have a combined total of more than 23 seconds of screen time?
Yes. Was your character illegally used to market erectile dysfunction pills?
Yes. Does your character have any childhood friends?
No. Does your character have the stupidest face in the world?
No.
I think you'll find it's yes.
Does your character have an equally stupid face because we're twins?
Yes. Did your character sleep with my wife?
Listeners, they've started fighting.
Ferg, unlock the door, unlock the doors. How can they be paid so much money but still be so angry?
Okay, listeners, we're going to try and break up this fight. Meanwhile, back to us in the studio tomorrow.
Good times with the bros. It's Jack and Ferg. We're back in the studio. Hope you enjoyed that exclusive interview.
So, of course, if you are interested as to how that fight panned out, obviously we had to stop recording so we could try and break up the fight. We failed to break up the fight, and they killed each other. Rest in peace, and of course the championship isn't happening anymore tonight.
Just to clarify on that, Ferg said... When I introduced that segment, Ferg was looking at me and he held up a sign.
Yeah.
And he said, pretend the championships are still happening tonight. And the reason he did that was that so you listen to the interview. And get excited. But now that we've had the interview, Ferg says it's okay to let you know that the brothers killed each other. And that the championships are not happening. I
mean, well, because now obviously we can actually tell them what's happening because we've gotten what we want from the listeners.
Yeah.
And they've listened to it, so now we can just tell the truth.
Yeah, I love you guys.
So, they're dead. Should we move on to some emails?
Yeah, let's do it, Ferg.
So, I've got one here, Jack.
Okay, let's hear it. Who's it from?
So it's from Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, guys. First of all, just wanted to give some love to the podcast and also say fuck the Dark Squid film.
Hey, love you, Matt. We hate Dark Squid too.
Yes, we do. Secondly, I was wondering, since Just Another Sharkman podcast is now the most popular podcast there's ever been ever, if you guys are considering a merch store for fans. I had a few ideas for things you could sell, branded t-shirts, branded mugs, Chris's severed and presumably rotting hand. So this is the thing we've been having some problems with.
We have been having some problems. Basically, Matt, I hear you, Matt, and I hear what you want.
We would love to sell you merch. But
the problem is, we started setting up the merch store on the website, and turned out that Will has the password.
Yeah, so Will, our old co-host,
he's in prison.
He got sent to prison just as we were starting to set up the merch store.
Actually, because he killed people who made the Dark Squid film. Funny coincidence you mentioned Dark Squid there.
So we hope you can appreciate that, Matt.
But he's got the password, basically.
So we can't really make it. Well, we've been trying to guess the password.
Yeah.
I tried Sharkman all lowercase because that's my password for everything. Didn't work. So I mean, if you guys want merch. Hashtag free will.
Yeah,
get the hashtag.
Get
going.
on the hashtag free will campaign again.
If you want to be sold merch with stuff printed on it, which we sell to you, we need free will first. Yeah, we need to free will first.
Yeah, we do. So get Will out of prison. Hashtag free will, guys. Love you.
Here's another email here. This is from John Johnson.
That's amazing, Ferg. What a cool name. I was just thinking, if you had to make up a name to email us, you would physically have to make a different email address to make that email work. Not that he's made up. Just went through my head.
Hey guys, my name is John Johnson of the Beijing Institute of Science, Culture and Unique and Interesting Technologies, or BISCIT for short. My work is primarily looking at air pollution, something which is particularly prevalent here in Beijing. I've been tasked by the Chinese government with finding a way to weaponize this air pollution, and I was directed toward your podcast by a friend who informed me that you had acquired a dangerous slug-like creature made entirely from smog.
Wait, is he talking about smog slug?
I think he must be. And he's wondering if we could permit him to study the creature and see if it can be used as the first step towards creating a smog creature army with which to take over the world in a completely... Well,
look, I'm always all for developments in science.
Exactly. Scientific progress is so important. Weaponizing everything we find in the natural world. It's important that humanity moves forward like that.
But look, Ferg, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, and I'm sorry, John Johnson, if this is going to come across that way, but I've got to put the podcast first. And so... science or having a really cool mascot.
I mean, he's so cute. We couldn't give him up.
So I'm all for having the mascot. Sorry, John. We can't really send Smog Slug away. Shall I get him out, Ferg?
Just are you sure? Because every time he comes out, he does tend to hurt us. And
no. I'm gonna get him out for 3 seconds. I've nailed this now.
Okay, let's do it.
Get back in.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah, we keep him in this metal box, and it's lead lined, and I stole it from a nuclear facility.
So next email. This is actually something we've gotten hundreds of emails about this.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to pick one out.
Okay.
Got a whole folder of them. This is from Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
She's an avid listener, loves the podcast. But just talking about, this is all about our episode we did a few weeks ago when I was stuck in the labyrinth, Jack. Yeah. The episode you did on your own. And I know you've heard all the emails about this. It says,
I know what you're going to say.
Jack, the way you drink juice is highly unhealthy and quite frankly repulsive. This is about when you were chugging all that apple juice.
Yeah.
It was also completely unprofessional for you to announce your bodily excretions mid-episode, and poor Ferg, my God, he was screaming for help and you were ignoring his every tear. How dare you? I am a hairbreadth away from reporting this to the higher pod authorities, good sir. I was distressed, angry, and most importantly, bored.
Oh.
What do you have to say to that, Jack?
Well... Oh, Ferg. Look, I've said I'm sorry about my behaviour on the podcast.
You have.
I know it wasn't a very good episode. I know it was a lot of me.
But it's this juice consumption that people are so angry about, Jack.
So yeah, but look, what I say to Hannah here is that, and it's quite frustrating to hear again, Hannah, and just to say I have apologised on the podcast. I would have hoped that you'd listened to that and retracted this email, maybe sent an apology yourself, because I can apologise for drinking juice on the podcast.
Yep.
I can apologise for going for a wee on the podcast, even though I didn't know how to edit it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm not going to apologise for, Ferg, is my lifestyle off the podcast. Do I wake up in the morning and immediately chug 2 litres of juice? Yes. Does that wake me up for the day and make me feel amazing? Yes. Does that mean I need to wee a lot? Yes. Does that mean I should apologise for my lifestyle? No.
You know what, Jack? And as anti-juice as I am,
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. And this is something I say all the time. No one should have to apologise for any of their choices. Thank you for that response, Jack. It's very measured. I'm really proud of you.
No prob.
So, news coming in now. About the one more film protest.
Yeah, wait, I've got it on my iPad too. It looks like the Sharkman Studio CEO, he's come out, he's delivered his speech.
So what's he said, Jack?
He's come out, Ferg,
Yep.
onto the platform.
Yep.
He's got out his little tricycle. He's done a couple circles. He's
Yep.
done a wheelie. A whole crowd's gone wild,
Yep.
as usual. Then he's got up. He's got to his plinth. He's got to the microphone, tapped it, checked it's on.
Yep.
All of that. You know, all the tech stuff.
Yep.
And he's announced, Ferg,
Yep.
that they've only gone and got the bloody maths wrong.
What?
So he comes out and he says, guys, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
We got it wrong. We can make 20 more films a year.
And the world won't end tomorrow.
No, the world won't end tomorrow. He says that if we make 20 more films a year,
Yep.
we're pushing it, but there'll be about 9 more years left to live on the planet.
That's brilliant.
That's so good.
Yep.
9 more years of podcast.
Yeah, so many more films for us to make podcasts about for so
Brilliant.
long.
I'm
No.
so happy, Ferg. And I think what it proves is that on both sides of the argument, you know, you and me, the protesters
Yep.
and the committee I made on Facebook,
Yep.
we're all right.
Yeah.
We're all correct. And it's important to listen to each other's opinions, not just to learn from someone else, but to understand why they are also right.
Because it's not about actually changing minds and changing what's happening. It's just about waiting around
Yeah.
and hoping that it will turn out we got the science wrong and that everything's actually
It'll be
fine.
20 more films. 20 more films. 20 more films. 20 more films.
This has been Just Another Sharkman podcast, starring Jack Bradfield as Jack, Fergus Macdonald as Fergus, Finlay Stroud as Lightning, Joe Peden as Noel, and Will Spence as the Street Urchin. Music and editing by Fergus Macdonald. Artwork by Niamh Simpson. Tune in again for more Sharkman news tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that.